Hello, hello. How are you today? Let me get myself set up here. All right, here we go. It is, feels like it's a little bright in here. I don't know why it's so bright, but that's fine. Is what it is. Turn this light on too. Lots and lots of light, right? All need light. Welcome. So let me get myself situated here with a little bit of stuff. Got my turpentine and my oil, and I've got a very nice clean palette. Yay. So what do we need to do? We need to paint. Let me actually, I'm looking at this. I'm glad I came a minute or so early because I need to make some adjustments to where my camera is here. There we go. Now I think you can see in a second. All right, here's where we are. I've done quite a bit of work today, and I don't think anybody's watching right now, so I'm just going to get to work at the moment until I see someone pop in. But I'll get my paints ready here while people are watching, or while I've got the floor to myself, I should say. Let me get some. Certainly need some white and black. Some titanium white. I think I only need a little bit right now, so let's try to be a little sparing with what I'm doing here. Some ivory black. It's a fairly limited palette that I'm using. Because I'm just working on specific items right now. Let me get some browns out. This is raw umber. I'll leave it like that for now. I might need more. I hate when the threads on your little plastic cap sometimes they get stripped and it doesn't want to fit right. There we go. This is burnt umber. Again, not too much. Those look pretty much the same on camera, but they are different. Burnt umber is a warm brown. Raw umber is a cool brown. That is the definition of warm and cool colors. Alright, we got burnt sienna. This is kind of an orangey brown. I'll be using a bit of that today, so I'm going to give just a little bit more of that. And what else? I'll put out some raw sienna. Notice I'm putting out a ton of browns. And yellow ochre. This is very kind of light brown. find yellow ochre to be sort of a universal color. It seems to happen everywhere I look. I'm going to add some cadmium yellow and cadmium red. Just a hint, because I don't think I need much of that at all. And it's expensive paint. So we got that. And where's my cadmium red? Is this it? Hopefully. Yep. Cadmium red. Alrighty. And I see I've got someone online with me, so welcome. I think that's all I need for paints. So we're going to stop there. Let me say hi real quick. Hi, nice to see you. So I've been working on this painting for quite a while. Let me turn this lamp back to where it was so I have a little extra light. And this is my photograph. Here's my painting. Here's my palette and my setup over here, messy desk. It's really messy. It's getting a little out of hand. That's all right though. And so here's where we are at with the painting. You can see it a little bit better, I think. So we are getting close to the end, and this is actually the last time I'm gonna paint live on YouTube for this. The rest of this is really just kind of nitpicky details. I've got some lettering to do up here, some line straightening here and there. Excuse me. I've got some detail work up here. I want to add some color to these metal bars here. Oh, I've got these pipes. I almost completely forgot about those, and some floor work that I need to do. Again, little details. It'll take me a little while to get through it all, but it's tiny stuff. And I'm going to start this today. I'm going to start painting. There's rust all along this platform here. Excuse me. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I hope you stick around and watch and say hi. Oh, you know what? Before I get started, let me go get my brushes. So, I've got my brushes here. I wash them pretty much every time I use them. It is a common occurrence that I sit down ready to paint, and then I've got to get up and find my brush. All right, so rust. Should we look at this? Let's look at this photograph here real quick. So I took this photograph, if you've been watching. I'll hold it up so you can see it here. So I took this photograph. Can I get even closer? It'd be cool if I could. Quite some time ago, a few years ago, and I actually started the painting quite some time ago too, but just recently got back into it. But we're going to focus on this rusty edge of the platform here, right? So I've got a base coat on the painting already, and I'm going to start painting the rust, and I'm going to do it in a couple of layers. So I'm going to try to build on each layer. So I'm going to do sort of a background light color. So if I look here, hopefully you can see, it's kind of orangey. So it's in that burnt sienna sort of realm, and on top of that is sort of darker and then almost black in some spots. So I'm probably going to put 3 levels of rust on this, and there's little bits of detail here and there. There's some paint chipping, there's a sign here and here, some maybe white paint over here. So that's where we're going to be focusing, at least to start today. I won't get very far, but maybe you'll learn how to paint rust. A little bit closer maybe, I don't know. Let's see how that goes. All right, so we're going to start with that that initial color. Let's get our palette knife. I'm going to go, I think, shopping this week. I want a smaller palette knife. This palette knife is a little bulky. It's good if you're going to mix a ton of paint, but I want a smaller one. So we'll see how it goes. So we're going to start with the, like I said, the burnt sienna. Get some of that over here. I'm going to need a bunch of it. All right, and if I'm looking at this, I want burnt sienna. And let's start out with just burnt sienna and titanium white. And let's just see what that looks like for a second. Notice how I get it up and I spread it out, and then I get it up and I spread it out, get it up, spread it out. That mixes pretty well. After a couple of times through, it looks pretty even. All right, so that's pretty orangey. And if we look at it compared to what I'm trying to do, is it's actually not far off. I might actually be happy with that to start off. I'm not sure yet. Make sure I'm doing this right. I want to take a moment, take a beat, always take a beat, check yourself. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. That's just burnt sienna and white. All right, let's wipe this off. All right, put it over there. I'm going to need my seeing glasses because my eyes aren't as well good as they used to be. So there's my glasses. Switching the glasses. I'm going to work with my Series 7 Zero. Let's clean that off. And you don't have to do this, but I like to dip my brush in the linseed oil before I get going here, just to get a little bit. I'll probably do a little bit more because I want this to flow nicely. A little chunk of something on there. I don't know what that is. A little bit more. All right. So this brush is great for detail work. It's not my smallest brush, but it gets me where I need to be. Get my trusty maul stick here. Let's pull this photograph a little closer so I can kind of go back and forth a little bit easier. I don't like how it rocks back and forth, but I love having it on this boom stand here. It's a microphone stand that I use actually, that I've repurposed. So I put it on this boom stand and I can just kind of move it around where I want. All right, so let's get to work. I'm just going to start painting some, and you can see here, hopefully you can see, I tried to start this the other day, and that yellow paint took forever to dry. So I stopped. I said I'm going to wait for that paint to dry properly, and that's where I'm at today. So let's see how that looks now. Yeah, that is a good color. So this isn't all that difficult. You really don't have to think too much when you're, when I'm doing this. It's like mindless painting. I don't even have to be accurate at all, I want to be a little accurate. I want to be, representative of what I'm painting, but and my brush is pretty dry. I would call this, I don't even know, do they call this dry brush? Dry brush is really a technique for watercolor, but because my paint is dry underneath, so I'm thinking of this as dry brush. So I'm looking at the drawing and I'm trying to compare. So I've got these letters up here, or this window, where the different spots are. So if I look at this, I'm looking at the S here. So there's a big spot that's like right way over here. Like I said, not important to be accurate, more important to represent accurately. And this is the last time I'm going to do this painting live. After next week, next Friday, I will be starting something brand new. Just trying to get this straight. So I'm going to be doing some similar paintings, but a little more loose, not so detailed. I'm going to paint faster, get more paintings done, develop a series, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. So this rust is here because of water, right? So rain happens. This is outside, obviously, and because that rain happened, I'm going all the way over to, say, here. Because that rain happened, it dripped off the edge and created rust spots. And I'm going to paint this whole thing right up to that spot. Being cautious, but don't need to be perfect here. The lines on the actual photograph are not that straight. They're a little bit wavy here and there. A little more oil on that brush. So if you're watching, that's always a problem with me. I don't know if you're painting or whatever. I like to put my foot on the bottom of the easel down here, and because this is a detailed painting, I tend to push on the easel a little bit more, and I always push it a little bit too much. So I got to be careful. I don't want my brush to slip. It does that enough on its own. This goes all the way down. So hopefully I'll get to a second layer in a few minutes here. So feel free, I don't think anybody's watching now, but maybe I'll pick up a new person in a minute. Maybe I'll put on some music for your entertainment. I can do that. Let's see what I got. I'll put on some music. You won't hear me, or I won't hear it, but maybe you will. Let's do some audio, music. Let's do happy music. It's Friday. We're gonna do some happy music. Let's go back to music, audio, music. Oh, I think it's playing. So let's hope it's playing. I don't know. Sorry about that. I killed my feed for a second. All right, let's continue. Hopefully you get a little music, a little entertainment for you. All right, got some 3 people here. Welcome. Nice to see you today. So let's get started. I'm painting rust. And so, as I was saying before I interrupted myself, rust is easy to paint. Do it in layers. Find a few common colors and go layer by layer. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to get some paint on the canvas. And as always, if you're hanging out watching, I love to chat, answer questions. So feel free to say hi or just watch any way that you wish. All right, I'm going to keep going with that. And that's going to go, let's see, from there, from the sign here, it kind of goes this way. So the sign has, it's on the top here. And then got some stuff that comes down. Yeah, this first layer won't take too long at all. And shortly I will get to a second layer. I'm going to just cover this whole thing up right here. Let's do a little more linseed oil. You got to be careful with linseed oil. You want to use it. You have to use it, you know. I shouldn't say you have to. For this type of painting, you do. But you got to have enough oil to paint ratio. If it's too little paint, too much oil, you're going to end up with either paint dripping or not sticking to the surface well. So you got to do a little bit of that. I see a little bit down here actually on the bottom, so this comes down here like that. Sort of like that. And let me look in here real quick, because since this is all caused by dripping water, it's, you know, that's why we have all these kind of streaks, that vertical streaks, because this is the edge of the platform, the front edge. And I'm going to do a little bit of streakiness going this way too. And what about over here? All right, it's good to start. Let's move on to the other side. Let's see. I'll move this out of the way here. And we'll continue over here. So, looking at this again. So, I've got it across the, I have it across the top all the way down. I'm going to put this above the sign too. wondering if I just want to go all the way down with that so I don't have to worry about that edge, that line. That's what I'm going to do. It's most rusty right up at this edge, and then it kind of drips down in different areas. Hopefully my head's not blocking things too much. Just trying to be careful. So I love this maul stick, and if you don't have a maul stick and you do detailed work, get a maul stick. And if you can't afford a maul stick, go outside and find a stick outside. It's like having a surface to keep your hands steady. Not all painting needs to be done like this. But if you're doing detail work, this is a good idea. A little more paint, and I want to be careful. You'll notice the edge of my work here is not on this piece of wood, so I don't want to push on the edge and move my painting by accident. Nice part is once I have this line in there, I don't have to be so perfect. I can just continue on. And a lot of this is going to get covered up again anyways, but I really want to do it in layers because I think it'll look better. There we go. Alright, now I don't have to worry too much. I don't even need that maul stick for a lot of this. I'm just going to kind of free paint it. Since I've got the line in there, I don't have to think about it too much. Let's see, that goes about here. Looks like there was a little sign right here previously, and that sign is pretty much gone now. So my name is Jason, and this is my channel. Welcome if it's your first time. And I'm not a new artist. I've been around a long time doing all types of different art, to be honest. Taught art for a number of years. Right now I am a graphic designer of sorts for a company. But I want to make more art. One thing that I've heard over the years is people saying things like, if I had your talent, I'd paint all the time. I don't think people understand what painting all the time means. It's not as easy to just do sometimes. Life happens. it's important to paint without distraction. It's important for me to paint without distraction, you know. I have a hard time painting with a lot of distractions. But life is currently getting a little less complicated. Kids are getting older. They can manage themselves for the most part. They're doing well in life. And, still here at home with me and my wife, but they don't need such constant supervision and attention anymore. And while that's a reason to miss them, I guess, it's also a reason to get back into my artwork here. So hopefully you're already seeing this kind of shape up as rust in a way. If you're having a hard time seeing something, I have no problem changing the camera angle or zooming in or whatever you like. You just got to tell me, and I'm happy to make those adjustments for you. If you have any questions about me or my work, just ask. Hope this is going okay. I think it is. I can't see my monitor over in the other room. Maybe I should check it just to be sure. Now I'm getting myself nervous. Oh, it should be fun. I'm still something going on YouTube. I see the screen here. I can see it enough. All right, so here, I didn't even see this when I started sketching this out. Here there is a tiny little sign too. And I'm just going to draw around it here. Make sure I know it's there. Again, not all that important. It's just looks like a series of numbers on a white plaque. So you can follow me on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Threads. That's about it. Of course, my wife is texting me right now. She's going to have to wait. She should know. This is my painting hour. She's at work right now. But this is my painting time. This is my lunch break. So I paint often on my lunch break. Fridays are my regular YouTube days. Occasionally I might pop in on an odd day. I hope to do a little more posting here and there. But posting is not it's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the artwork, that's it. Oh, let's see. Just looking at my subject here. I've got like green paint here. I might skip that green paint, we'll see. I'm going to paint this very lightly actually in some spots because it's just not doing too much. All right, this is really dark here. Let's see. I feel like my head is right in the way, isn't it? Can I move that down a little bit for you? Too far? No, that's probably good. Yeah. I try not to get my head in the way, but that doesn't always help. All right, where am I looking? I'm looking here. That's where my subject is. Again, not important what I'm painting here. I'll switch back to my other glasses actually for a moment. There we go. It's the idea of rust that I'm painting here. It doesn't need to be exact. This is not a, while it has some significance for me, this is not any kind of historical painting per se. It doesn't have to be that accurate. I can take some artistic license here and there, which I have. All right. And I will continue to take some artistic license here and there because I can. Let's see, this goes to about there. See, I'm almost done with this first level of painting. And I'm already happy with it. So I must have done something right. It's always a pleasant surprise to do something right, right? There's something white on there too. Let's change up the view a little bit here and there. All right. Let's take a look at that for a second and see if there's anything. I'm tempted. Tempted to do a couple of things. Maybe that's not bad where it's at. I'm gonna leave it alone, and I'm gonna go for the darker. Like I was saying, let me clean this off now. All right, now I'm going to go much darker, and I think I want to go burnt umber. The question is it straight burnt umber? It might be just straight burnt umber. So I'm just going to pull some of this over here maybe. Get a good helping of that. Nice helping of burnt umber. Get some linseed oil in there. Not too much, remember. Linseed oil is only your friend if you are wise with it. All right, just a little bit there. Let's test this out on the painting itself. Now I've got wet paint here, right? So I've got to make some decisions about how to proceed and whether or not the wet paint is going to be a helper or a hinderer. This is much darker than I had before, obviously. I gotta pull this over a little closer so I can see that side of the painting a little bit better. See, isn't that nice? I can just move it around where I want to. And you even get to see it a little bit better too. I'm not even going to use my mole stick right now. Alright, so I got to look here where I'm at for a second and make some decisions. Again, it's not that important to be perfect with this. There's nothing about rust that's perfect, right? Rust is kind of a, you know, its own, it lives how it wants to live, right? I can't tell it where to go or how to behave. It's got to make those choices for itself. As strange as that sounds. Alright, I'm going to switch back to the other glasses. Eyesight is a constant struggle. Constant. Just kind of look at my subject, I take a peek, I get some paint on there, and I move on. I need some more paint down here though before I keep moving on down there. Now because I've got some wet paint here, I can do a little bit of blending too. And I'll certainly do that a little bit here and there. All right. It's a quiet Friday. So once I get a certain distance here, I'll try a little bit of that blending that I was talking about. Now this is an interesting spot because there's a piece of this, there's like this yellow, it's like a plastic paneling, textured paneling that they put at subways and train stations to warn people of the edge, you know. But this one in particular has come up a little bit. And let's see, that's goes to about here. All right. So, right here, this is really dark. This whole thing is really dark. So you might be asking, well, why did I paint it in the first place? Because, like I said, I'm building that paint. Little by little, kind of build it up. Oh, this is interesting. I see a number 3 here. I'll have to paint that on afterwards because I like that. Now, I'm seeing a color that I'm wishing that I had used earlier, so I'm going to do that now. And I think it's going to be just straight old burnt sienna. So that was the color that I used for this lighter orange here. Get a little oil on my brush. So I'm just going to pull some of that out now. I'm going to use it. I never do this. I've got two colors right now that I'm using straight out of the tube. I never ever use color, but maybe I'm not exactly using them straight out of the tube because I'm actually blending with the color beneath it quite a bit. So maybe I can maintain my innocence there. And I'm gonna put a little bit more of that over here too, because I kind of like that, the way that looks over there. Oh, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Do 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 do. Would you be mine? Of course, that probably doesn't go well with the whatever music is playing in the background. That's all right. All right, so I'm going to take my blending brush a little bit here and just mess with some of this a little bit. Sometimes I don't feel like painting, but when I force myself, I'm always happy that I did it afterwards. You know, painting is not, it's not easy. I'm going to get some raw umber now, and this time I'm going to get very, very little on my brush. Let's see how that works, because I just want to kind of rub it on a little bit, you know. Don't want it to be like thoroughly painted on there. I just want to make the surface kind of dirty. Except, here's the issue. I'm going to get a little more linseed oil on that. So it's mostly, so there's times to break the rules, right? This is mostly linseed oil, right? You can see right through it. And I'm doing that because I'm not exactly happy with what I just did. So I want to kind of This would be kind of like putting on a glaze. It'll still achieve that making dirty effect, but it won't completely block out the color underneath, because I don't want to do that. I'm going to add a little white to that, I think. See where I want to go with that. And a little bit of yellow. So here's the thing with, let me see what that looks like. Actually, I'm going to add more yellow. I'm going to add some yellow ochre, some more of this yellow. Really make a nice dirty yellow. Except it needs to be, what does it need to be? It needs to be more raw umber. Just a hint. More of a hint, bigger hint. And quite a bit more yellow now. So as I'm doing this, I'm seeing little things that I'm gonna add a little red to that actually. That little things that I can do. That's good. That's the color I want right there. A bunch of, not too much. There's a bunch in there already. A bunch more linseed oil. So once you get going on it, you're like, okay, let me, if you've got a bunch of different colors that are all kind of rust colors, you can just kind of dip your brush around, pick up this color, pick up that color. I think that works pretty well for rust. So I'm going to keep working on this. For that, I hope to be done. It'd be nice if I was done with this weekend. We'll see how that goes. Add some. See, now I'll go back to this. I'll grab some of my burnt umber. Add that to that. See, so I'm building all my rust colors. So as I go, I'll just keep grabbing more rust colors here and there. And you just kind of keep painting them in. You build it up little by little. Before you know it, the rust is looking pretty good. Here's my dab that a little bit with my blending brush. All right, looking good. A little at a time. It takes time to do this. You can't. There's no real easy workarounds for this. You know, you just gotta kind of keep going. All right, I'm gonna get some more colors here. I'm not even gonna clean my brush at the moment. I'm going to grab some of this. I'm gonna add a little bit of this to it, make it a little darker. See, I'm not even being exact with what I'm doing here. So that's what I think I need more of in my life. A little more randomness. A little more throw caution to the wind. Do I know what I'm doing here? No, I do not. I am an on-the-spot problem solver. That's how I like to work. Let's grab some of this now, even darker. Just got to keep building, keep building. All right, I'm going to stop there for now. I'll clean this brush off. So, what can you expect? You can expect that next week, whether this painting is done or not, I will be painting something different next week, whether it's done or not. I'm going to go around and do some photo hunting this weekend, tomorrow morning, bright and early. I'm going to get out and drive around, and I'm going to find some cool shots like this, things that I gravitate towards are really this style of thing. I found this particular image when I was in Boston with my family, and we just happened to be at this place at this time, and I looked across, there was no one there, and I said I need to paint that. And so those are the types of things. There's texture, there's depth, there's I like the colors, I like the rustiness, I like the grittiness of it. It's just, I don't know, it struck me as a really neat, I like the symmetry of it. It struck me as a really interesting painting. So I'm going to find more of these things. I'll continue to stay with sort of an urban theme, and we'll go from there. Hopefully I find something, because if I don't, I'm going to make myself a liar and come back and paint this. But I promise you, I will not be painting this next week. I will be painting something brand new. So take a last look, because the next time you see this, it will be done. And so I will show it off probably in a couple months from now. I'll wait until I get it framed and sealed and all that. And so when it's complete, I will show it off again and have maybe a little discussion session or something, a little talk session with people and see what they think about it. So that's where we are. So if you joined me today, I see someone's here right now. You missed it. You're an hour late. So I only paint during my lunch hour. My lunch hour is up, so it's time to get back to work. But I will be here next Friday with a brand new painting. Brand new, starting from scratch, so you get to see it from the beginning. So love for you to subscribe. You can catch me here every Friday. You can reach out to me and catch me on Instagram and on Threads. So feel free to do so. I'm happy to chat about anything. So have a great weekend and happy painting. Bye.